All right, we're talking about the time matrix. So the first thing we did was we laid down some foundational principles, and then we provided some tools. And then I asked you to actually track your time. So foundational principles about time, $86,000, and that whole money metaphor. And then we talked about some tools of managing or maximizing the utilization of your time, high impact or high return or high leverage activities, low return activities, time blocking, and the such. And then I asked you to actually track your time. I gave you a tool to track your time, to take a look at where that time went. Each sheet was a day. And you should be able to now get a very good snapshot of where your time goes in an attempt to start to maximize its utilization. So when you sit down to look at those time matrix sheets, I would do the following. First of all, I'd have my list of high return or high leverage activities next to me. I'd have that list of those activities that give me a greater return than the time invested. If you recall, we have a goal in each one of our lives. So we have a goal in each one of the roles of our lives. And in each one of those roles that we play, there are some activities that give us a greater return, and there's some activities that give us less return for the time that we put in. So I want that list next to me when I start to look at my time matrix sheet for each day. Now when I look at that day, the first thing I'm looking for is trends. Where did my time go? Generally speaking, where did my time go? Did it get sucked out in emails, spending time answering emails? Did I have a meeting laden with days? And I'm also looking for the high leverage or high return on investment activities. Did I do any? And as I look at each one of the sheets, as I lay the sheets out next to each other, I'm looking for time that I spent in the high leverage or high return on investment activities. Those return that give me more back than I put in. And as you look at 4 and 5 and 6 days, count up the number of hours that you actually spend in those activities. And whether that's in your home as a spouse or as a parent, or whether that's in your workplace, how much time did you actually allocate over that 4 or 5 day period? Or did you actually spend, in those activities? If it's minimal, we got a problem. You're probably not advancing yourself. Then take a look at the low impact activities or low leverage activities. How much time are you spending in that? So the first blush is looking, generally speaking, where's my time going? Is it going into those high leverage activities or into the low leverage activities? Then the second thing I'm looking for is any trends. Are there certain times of the day when I'm more productive? Are there certain times of the day where I'm less productive? Obviously, those times in the day where I'm more productive, more energetic, get more things done, that's when I want to do the things that I don't like or are the most difficult. Those things where I'm a little bit low energy, those times, where I'm a little bit more low energy, where I'm not myself, I'm not that go-getter like I want to be, then that might be where I put things I like to do. So I'm more likely to do it. And then finally, I'd look for things that are just completely missing. No time. You put no time into that role, not just the high leverage activity, but when you look at 4, 5, 6 days, did you put 0 time in all of that combined into those roles of your life? And if the answer is yes, then you know there's going to be a problem. You know a problem is coming, because if week after week, day after day, you put no time into one of those roles in your life, you know you're going to have a problem. So by looking at where your time goes, you get a sound understanding of the adjustments that need to be made. Now moving forward, well, now you want to make a change, right? You want to change things. So the way you're going to change things is that you're going to start to proactively plan. You're going to proactively plan. Now that you know where your time goes, you're going to change things if you're not completely satisfied with it. And if you recall, the way you're going to do that, you're going to sit down and do your number one high leverage activity, the number one activity to return an investment of time put in. Plan. You're going to build a plan. And the first thing that plan is going to be comprised of is blocking out, time blocking, or making an appointment with yourself those high leverage activities in each one of the roles of your life. You're going to actually block out time. Then the next thing you're going to block out is those things that you know are going to happen. I have a meeting here. I have a meeting there. I have an appointment here. I need to allocate time there. You're going to block. That's the second thing you're going to block. And then the third thing you're going to block is the things you just assume you know. You know you're going to have to answer email. Set aside a half hour here or there to do so. You know you're going to have to return phone calls perhaps. Set aside time to do so. That's the assumptive planning. So the first thing I block out in the week to come is those activities that give me the highest return. They may not be urgent, but they are important, so I block them out. They move me closer to my goal every week. Then I block out the things I know are going to happen or know I need to have done. So a meeting, a conversation, emails, phone calls, or that I've got to do some work because there's a deadline coming in 2 weeks. I block those things in. And then I'm going to do some assumptive planning, things that I just assume and know are going to be required of me. I'll set aside some time. So the whole point of looking back and analyzing was to get a good sense of where's my time really going. I'm overwhelmed. Are you overwhelmed, or are you just not controlling what you have and then proactively maximizing its utilization? Now that you've looked back, I want you to project forward. I want you to project forward to what is going to happen. Now, does it guarantee that you will always be in control of your time? Of course not. Of course not. You're going to have days that completely get away from you. But in practical application, once you've made that plan, now each day you work the plan. Each day you work the plan. So what does that look like? I have my plan for Monday. I take a look at it before the day begins. Has anything changed? Do I need to make any adjustments? Do I need to move anything to the next day or later in the week? Then I go and execute Monday. Then on Tuesday, I look at Tuesday. Same routine. I take a look at it. What needs to be done today? I think through what needs to be done. Does anything need to be adjusted? Anything need to be corrected? Now, if Tuesday gets completely away from me, well then on Wednesday I'm going to adjust appropriately. Well, what about my to-do list in? Remember what I said. I said on that to-do list, you're just going to have a list for the week, not for the day. I'll try to get all of this done by the end of the week. What about a deadline? Well, if you've handled deadlines properly, then you're not waiting till the last minute because you've allocated a little bit of time each week to hit the deadline. Now, if it's a deadline that emergency pops up, how do we take care of that? The white space that we leave for each day. We don't overschedule or overcommit ourselves. We don't overschedule or overcommit. We leave some white space each day. A couple of you have talked to me about the challenge of prioritization. This tool helps you with that. If it's not in my goals, if it's not in my high leverage activities, and if I have no time available, then of course the answer is this. No, I can't do that. But because you have a plan, you're able to look and see how much time you really have and whether you can carve some out or not for that new thing. Well, what if that new thing is my boss? My boss tells me what to do. Well, you may not feel comfortable doing this, but I've done this before where I say, okay, boss, out of these 10 things that I'm supposed to do this week, which one do you want me to have take a back seat? Let the boss make the priority decision for you. You're not being rude, you're not being mean, you're just saying, you've given me these 10 things to do, they all have upcoming deadlines, which of these things can wait so I can put time into this? 86,400 seconds, that's what you're given every day. 168 hours in your week, that's what you're given every week. If we can get those $86,000 or 86,000 seconds and those 168 hours in alignment with where we hope to go long term, we're going to be successful more times than not. The key to doing that, knowing what your high leverage activities are, plugging them every week, and then working that plan. I believe that Archimedes was right. If you have a system, you can move